Okay, so it's 5:28 on the 25th. You know what's weird? I swear to God, I thought yesterday was the 25th. I swear when I looked at my thing, I thought it said the 25th. So, because I think yesterday I said something about the mirroring effect of the 25 and the 52. But look at the day. Because I was sitting there all morning going, I think I said that yesterday. That was the 25th, but it wasn't the 25th. And I said, and I made a whole thing about it, mirroring the time. And then this morning, just now, it went on. It was 5:28 on the 25th. So it says mirroring effect today, but I swear to God, I thought it was yesterday. Man, I'm having the weirdest, the weirdest stuff. Yesterday was such an ordeal. They took down my video because I'm spreading medical misinformation. So talking about your own health or your dog's health is against the rules. So I can't talk about any of the stuff going on, but it's staying the same thing keeps going on. And so, but, you know, I'll talk about it. And and just now I was on TikTok and somebody was talking about their dog just got diagnosed with the C. And so I said, you know, a few of the things, natural things you could try. And I just got the comment removed for medical misinformation. So they're going hard on us again with this stuff. So it's so frustrating. You know, especially supposedly Donald put in all this stuff about to stop the censorship and stuff, but it continues. So I don't know if it's to give us grounds for lawsuits or what, because they just keep doing stuff. They don't, you know. So so on here I have to really watch out. So there'll be more code, obviously. And also, like, I didn't even know it was removed. And Amy messaged me and she said that a weird thing happened on video when she was watching it. And I don't know what the notification was to you guys. So I'll go on and look. And then in my emails, it said that they removed it. And because of misinformation stuff. So I was like, what in the world? And they told me right at the moment. And I'm thinking, I swear to God, I was talking about Stella's vagina at that time. So I can't talk about my dog. I can't talk about anything. And then I went in and watched the first part. And I was also talking about the well. Obviously, you can't talk about what's in your well water. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to, it gave me options. I could appeal it, I could edit it. So I edited it, put on the other video. So I took out the first 10 minutes or something. And then tried again. And then I kept looking all day, trying to figure out how to appeal it. They make it so freaking hard. I couldn't believe it. And so then I found, I don't remember how, I just kept looking. I don't remember how. I was trying everything. So somewhere it told me I needed to get another app, YouTube Studio or something. So I get that. Then when I find these directions how to do it, so I have YouTube, the regular app, and then YouTube Studio. And it was telling me the directions how to do it. And then I saw it had directions on both things. So it told you how to do it on Ruthie. I told you how to do it on the studio one, and it told you how to do it on the YouTube, or just the regular one. So I went on both of them. None of the things. So you click on review my stuff. Nope, couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. And every single thing that it would tell me, do this step, do this step. The step wasn't there. It just didn't even exist. And so it was so frustrating, and I kept trying and trying. And I'm just messing around, just going through everything, trying to find somewhere that gives me the box to get the option to appeal. And I don't even know. But at some point, a box popped up. Not anywhere where they said. So one popped up, so I started going through it. And then I appealed it, and they said I would hear in 72 hours. And then later in the day, it said that, oh, okay, you're right. After further looking into it, we agree you weren't saying things. So, but I'm not messing with that bullshit. So it's like they have control over what we talk about and everything. So I swear to God, all the distractions all the time. So they have control over what we talk about, and which is so absurd. Like, everything in our fucking existence is so controlled. So but there was something else I was gonna say about that. So they told me that they were giving it back. Oh, because in the thing it said sometimes the way they decide if you are, it's running through a computer, and the computer decides if you are talking about things you're not allowed to talk about. And so then it alerts them, and it closes your video down. It shuts it down and removes it. And so even if the computer decides, you have to go in and ask for somebody to reevaluate it. And I mean, it's just absurd. It's so absurd. It was so frustrating. And it feels like when it happens to you, you just feel so controlled and so like, God dang. That somebody could just interfere with what you're doing all the time. It's just so annoying. And everything right now, there's so much annoying shit to me right now. Just the fact that everything, like I'm trying to bend my fingers or anything. Yeah, it's so uncomfortable. And I was having the most craziest, deepest dreams last night. So weird of dreams. And at one point, it was like this portal was opening, and these flies were coming in. Because yesterday, I was just I was on a fucking murder spree, murdering flies right and left, which probably that's going to flag me right there, saying that word. So I'm just going to town on these flies. Broke the fly swatter. I don't order some more fly swatters. And there's one in here, but out in the shop area, like where my kitchen is and stuff, oh my God. Right now, it's not that much because it's cold. So when it's cold, they all kind of just go dormant. And then as soon as it gets warm enough, then they just go insane. And they don't just fly around. No, they fucking fly into your hair, into your face. You're trying to eat something, they fly on it. Like, they're insane. And so when I was just like, kill them, and then they just keep being more. I'm like, where are they coming from? Like, the door's not open or something. Where in the world are these coming from? And it's like, is there a crack somewhere? And they're just zooming in. Like, there's a spider, another big old fucking spider just sitting there at the door, just waiting for his opportunity. It's just constant. There's so many motherfucking bugs out here. And but so I had the fly thing on my mind, and I was thinking, like, how do they just come in? Like, it's so weird. And then, so in this dream, it was like I was like in this communication, like I was being shown or told something. It was like this whole long thing. But then all of a sudden, there was like this part where this, like this portal thing, and all these flies came zooming in. But before that, and then right when that happened, something happened. It's like the dogs jumped up and started barking. It was really weird. And it was creepy. And then, so they jumped up and started barking. So I sat up and I was like, what the hell was that? And I kept getting woke up out of these really long, deep dreams too. And one of the things though about the flies in the portal and stuff like that, I was seeing it like it was like a vibration. Like that they vibrate faster, so they can go But I don't think they can just go through the walls and stuff because the walls are a different vibration. But I don't know. They could go through areas that are not the same kind of, because everything's an illusion. That's what's weird too. So I don't know, but I definitely was getting this thing about how they move. They're just zzz, that they're like a different vibration. But to me, they like are low vibration. I swear to God, I can't. There's a bunch of insects where it's like, surely they aren't going to be going forward. Like, what is the point with the flies? Just to feed the spiders? And why are there so many spiders? Why aren't they eating all the flies? It's like, man. So I don't know. That's my rant about the bugs. But but in one of the dreams, because I got woke up several times, I felt totally out of it, which was also weird too, because even in my dream, there was one dream, and I was me, and I was going around like, I don't know, like going around learning, and I was doing stuff with these other people, and somebody said something about like, you seem like you're drunk or something, and I was like, because I'm so tired, and that makes me just feel out of it. I feel like, so anyways, I was talking about it in my dream, but then at some point, I don't know if it was that when there was the noise, I don't have any idea what the noise was, but when all four of them jumped up suddenly and started barking, and I was dead ass asleep in some kind of weird dream. And so when that happened, I think it was then that I thought, I was laying there and I was listening, and it was really windy. And I was thinking, I wonder if the door blew open. And so then I'm thinking, okay, well, when I get up, I better go out there before them and make sure so nobody escapes. And so I get up, and Stella wants to go out immediately. Ruthie lingers around. She finally goes out because she just loves to just pee wherever. So pee, poop, wherever. It's like, girl, get your shit together. And then, which the two boys, they've decided, well, marking is pretty fun. I'm just going to go mark this tractor. So one of them even marked my clothing racks. It's like, motherfuckers. So so anyways, I open the door, Stella goes out, Ruthie goes out, Archie goes out, Max is just like, hell no. And I'm like, no, I know you peed in there yesterday morning. So I push him out the door, and I shut the door, and I go out the other door to go check on the garage door and see if it's open. Well, it's closed. So, and this was like in a dream, that this was like I was seeing this door open. So then, as I'm coming back in, the Stella and Ruthie just push the door open. They just push doors open. And so they push the door open and start coming in to the garage. And so I'm looking, well, where's Max and Archie? So I go to the door to look out. The gate had blown open. So they're gone. They're just gone. It's pitch black. This was at 4 in the morning, so it'd be pitch black for another 4 hours. And those coyotes. And it was started raining, and I was like, well, maybe the coyotes, they stay in their little shed or hut or whatever it is, their place that they sleep. Maybe they stay in that when it's raining. Maybe they don't come out and hunt when it's raining, because they figure, well, the other animals are all in their little cozy spots, so nothing's out for us to eat. Everybody's hiding and from the rain. So I kept thinking, maybe the coyotes aren't out right now. But I was like, oh my God. Right after I was just sitting there thinking that these two would be a meal for those coyotes. And so I start like panicking, because Max, he almost like gets what he deserves, because every single person that meets him goes, well, the other ones all listen, just Max doesn't listen. I'm like, yeah, I know. He doesn't listen at all. He just looks at you like, whatever. And so, And he runs off all the time. And so, and my brother, when I had said, about the fence, so when they were over here working and stuff, then he saw what I was talking about. Yeah, Max just takes off all the time. And there's this barbed wire up, and Ruthie started falling one of the times, and then she goes running back. She got knocked right in the mouth. I freaked me out. She got knocked right in the mouth, and she was like did this weird thing, and she tumbled over. She got hit with the barbed wire twice because she's just jumping around like crazy. And he's taking down the barbed wire now, but also I'm keeping him in their yard. But but when she did it, I guess it knocked her jaw out of alignment or something. He said it knocked her jaw, but she pulled it back in. He said, I've seen dogs do that before. But it was, oh my God, it was intense. I can't get that picture out of my mind. But she's okay. Just as rowdy and hellacious as ever. I swear to God. And to go to the grocery store, I'm going to have to put the crate up. I'm going to have to start getting her used to being in the crate. When I tried, because Lucy had such anxiety and had to be right next to me. But even if she's right next to me, like if I go, oh, well, I'll just take her to the store with me. No, you can't even get out of the car. She freaks the fuck out. And so, and with Lucy would tear the house up. She ate my couch. She ate everything. I'd come home. Everything would be outside, just tore up all over the yard. And I was just like, man, there was certain times where I was just so beat down by her. And then she ended up dying. It was horrible. And, but I tried putting her in a crate. And she broke the crate. So I was like, well, she's still young. And she went in a crate on this whole travel to get up here. She was in a crate. So I'm going to have to try put her in the crate so I can go to the store. Because I'm going to have to go to the store. I'm going to run out of water. And I'm planning on the 7th. I think and I hate it when all my waters get empty. I feel like I just need to get more and more waters. Especially because there's always this thing looming over us. Like, if everything suddenly shuts down. And so it's just like, shit. In this well water, I was like, oh, ideally to have a well, but this, is you're not supposed to drink it for the reasons why I've said that I won't repeat again. I mean, so so anyways, they're gone. And I'm out there yelling and yelling. And Archie always just follows Max. And Max just goes off and does whatever the fuck he wants. And so it's like, man, whatever he comes across is like, this is your destiny or something. I kept feeling so bad for Archie. And I kept thinking, it kept coming in my head, well, what's meant to be is meant to be. What's meant to be is meant to be. There's nothing to do about it. And he kept going out there and hollering and hollering and hollering. And I couldn't see anything, couldn't hear anything. There was nothing. So I went and got in the car, went and drove around, couldn't see anything. I mean, you can't see anywhere. I had my brights on, you can't see shit. And then on top of it, it's raining. And Archie hates the water. He hates the rain. And so I kept hollering, and luckily they came back. And at first, all I saw was Max. I was like, are you motherfucking kidding me? I swear to God, if he took her off Archie and Archie gets hurt or lost or something, that would just piss me off. And because Max is so defiant. He just is so defiant. And Archie is such a sweetheart. He listens, he's smart, but he definitely, when his best friend's going to do something, he's going with him. And so, anyways, but they're back. But I was so worried for however long. I was like, well, there's coyote meal. It's like, that's it for them, I guess. But luckily, I haven't heard any of the coyotes, and hopefully they are. So I went out and secured the gate better. Because the other two are on a chain, but this one isn't chained. There was something in front of it. So this time I screwed this bar thing. And so hopefully it'll keep it from opening. But it was so weird how in my dream the door opened. And so I got to make sure. And actually it was the gate. And I put them all out there. And I'm glad too Ruthie didn't take off with them. Because that was my other worry. He would... like the Pied Piper, come on, let's all go on an adventure. And he's like Huck Finn. And so anyways, they're back. But it was like, oh my fucking God. Just, I swear to God, it is just one thing after another. Just the getting woke up all the time. I mean, in these dead ass long freaking weird dreams. They're so weird and they're so deep. And I feel so out of it when I come out. When I get woke up abruptly. When I wake myself up, it's so different. And so, anyways, I feel weird and I feel out of it. But there was, so then after I didn't feed the little one, but I fed the older ones, or the other two, the bigger ones, because still always demands to eat. So I had fed them, but I was out looking for the other two, and then when they got back, we all just came back in here, and they went back to sleep. Because a lot of times they don't eat in the middle of the night anyways. And so, because there'll be another meal after I finish this, still I'll be like, hey, it's the weirdest thing. It's like immediately, as soon as it's just like she can sense it, she'll get up and come. And as soon as I turn the thing off, she starts being like, okay, let's go, come on, it's time for the next time to eat. So, anyway, that's what they usually eat anyhow. But so I was, sitting over there drinking my tea, and they're all snoozing. I was like, I should use this time. And, but there was a couple videos that I had seen that I wanted to say something about. So, besides just bitch about just bullshit. And, but there is still so much weird shit. I swear to God, it's just like this dark energy or something. Is just, I don't know. Because it feels so interfering. It feels like that there's just these, I know some people are, oh, it's the devils and demons and stuff like that. But I don't look at it like that. It is, but there is like this interference. And I don't know if it's to just, you know, like if things are starting to make a turn, if they're trying to hold us back and keep us in anger and distraction so that we, like, what's meant to be is meant to be. So if you're going, wherever you're going. They can't make a change in that. But they can feed off of your energy and your, feed off of your energy. But I don't know if they, I don't know. Because they don't really think like we think. They don't like contemplate or consider. They just like live off of impulse, more just natural impulse of survival, and they're parasitic. And so their energy, they feed off of our energy of negativity, and all that feeds into the dark. And it's receding. It's like that energy is receding, but it's like fighting for its existence right now. And so it's, I don't know, it just seems like, to me, it seems like this harassment or something. So, I don't know. Most people think I'm crazy, so whatever. But let me think of what the videos I saw. I saw a bunch this morning talking about men. One was a guy. I always think it's funny, but he said that women can go through a huge crisis and get up and go to work and just carry on. He said that a man can get, his feelings hurt in elementary school and never get over it. A man is still holding on to his parents, got divorced when he was 10 years old. A man can't, it affects him forever. He can't let go of anything. Where a woman can let go and heal and grow past things, a man, it lets that become who he is. And it's like, that is so weird, because it is like, I don't think he was just trying to be funny. I think it was like, there was a lot of truth in that. Men do really hold on to things. I wonder if it is something, more of a biological thing, because there's a whole thing about women are more in touch with their emotions and stuff. But I would say it would be because Men have the ability, but they have to connect more inside themselves. They have to connect more to their emotions and stuff. So they have to become more well-rounded. They don't have to become little, crying babies all the time or anything, but they have to, look at things in a deeper way or something, and make an attempt to get over things, not just hold on to them and just let it become who you are. There's this angry, negative, hateful, take it out on everybody else because your feelings got hurt, 20 years ago. But that isn't to say all women are perfect, 'cause I know a lot of women who are very dysfunctional, and lots of women out there have got all sorts of personality disorders and stuff. It's just a part of our society right now. But definitely, I think men need to look at their emotions deeper and stuff and try and get in touch with things so that they can heal. And you got to remember that you are both things. Just because you are represented by your avatar as one gender, you, the orb inside, the thing that you really are, has no gender. So it is a positive and negative, which is represented by male and female. And so it is both things, and it has to find balance. Otherwise, and I think that this society has really harmed a lot of men through the patriarch or whatever, putting men in a certain role has cut them off from who they are emotionally or internally, and it gives them more of a one-sided view of life. And so, and women have, there's a lot of women who have become super helpless and stuff like that, which, oh, there was this one video of a teacher talking about there's all these kids. She has fifth grade, and she said all the kids don't see the point of learning anything. All you got to do is ask the computer, why do I need to learn? Why do I need to learn to read when the computer can read to me? Why do I need to do this when the computer can do it? Why do I need to do that if the computer can do it? See how it turns into us becoming underdeveloped by allowing the computers to do everything for us. And they don't even understand how underdeveloped you would be. What are we going to have, a society that goes backwards, that can no longer read and write? We just depend on our computers. And then who's going to program the computers? It's like, we've got to develop ourselves first. We got to prioritize ourselves over the computers. And these people all being raised on computers. And one of my daughters was telling me, everybody she knows, all these women, and this would be millennials, all these people that she knows are all completely dependent on their AI. They talk to it, everything. And she's just like, I just don't understand it. And they ask, and they have it figure everything out for them. And it's like, you're not developing yourself when you do that. You got to develop yourself. And I saw another person, this was yesterday, I think, talking about, it was something about the most important thing. I don't remember what in regards he was talking about, but it's that, taking time to yourself is the most important thing. Solitary time, where you have quiet time, half hour to an hour every day of just you with you. And, I think that, being on my own has been great, but that is your time of reflection. That is your time of reconsidering and allowing yourself to be plugged into who you really are, to the universe. And so I totally agree with that. And I think I've said that a bunch of times. That is, you need to find time to be alone so that you can, have that time of consideration, or some people call meditation or whatever, but just quiet time where it's just you, no interference. And but I don't remember the whole video, what he was saying, but anyways, I agreed with that. But the AI the kids being underdeveloped, because we're becoming a society that is completely underdeveloped. It's like handicapped. Then you have I don't know, the computer can become its own intelligence or something, and then you become its slave. It's like, I don't know. I just feel like it's super important for people to develop themselves and to see. And then, but that's what I was saying before, though. They already were successful in what it was their plan was. They haven't reached the whole thing, and they're not going to, but where they were going, they were succeeding. They have the generation of dependency, and where they can control all their information. And they don't, they already have them where they don't even know how to read cursive. They don't know how to communicate with people one-on-one in person, and to text and stuff like that. So I don't know. And then how would they even be able, oh, well, they'll just tell the Siri or whoever to text for them, say this. I do know my daughter does use that. But each generation has its thing. But I saw another video where Gen X was saying that they were the experiment. That they were the experiment. It's like, you guys were just... Yeah, I said this such a long time ago. The labeling system of why every 10 years, every generation has a label is because it is being tracked. It's how labs work. You have to have the group. You have to make a group. It's called something, but anyways, that's what all these labels are. That's why I am against this labeling system. And, I mean, then all these people who jump on board, Gen X, I swear to God, they are one of the biggest ones of being proud of their label. Like, they think that they are, there's, I don't know this whole thing. It's weird. And, but for them to think they're the only science experiment out all this is, I don't know, that's kind of egotistic a little bit, you know, because we all have unique things to each generation that they did to, like they do it, and then what's the outcome? They introduce this, what's the outcome? Introduce this, what's the outcome? If we change this, then what happens? If we change that, then what happens? And then they track it, or they got a computer to track it, however it works. But that's in the 2030. Their whole thing about the generation, how they can make a change. It takes 4 generations. This generation thinks this way. By the 4th one of this constant changing it, that this one believes totally different than this one. Well, you can see how they've created all this generational divide because they changed these information. The words. Like, I will get in arguments with my kids over words. They get so mad if I say retarded. It's like, you don't understand. I grew up, retarded meant slow. That's what it meant. That's what the dictionary they had. That's what it meant. And even in school, they had the class, and they referred to it as the retarded class. It just meant slow. It didn't mean something mean. It just meant slow. And then, I don't know. They always come up with this stuff of, because I don't even know if it's true. And, you know, where they had to be like, well, you couldn't say Merry Christmas anymore. You have to say Happy Holidays because you're offending people. Well, they did the same thing about retarded. They started saying you're not allowed to say retarded anymore because it's offensive to people who have got developmental disabilities. And, like, people are using it like a slang word to be mean or something, calling people, you know, like, you retard or whatever. And, so you're kind of changing the word a little bit because it just means slow. Something's retarded. It's slowed down. And so anyways, we were raised on certain words that meant one thing, and they didn't have this negative, you know, connotation or whatever. They didn't have a negative part about it. It was just what the word was. And doctors were the ones who labeled the kids as retarded because they were just slower than the other kids. It wasn't, And there was kids in those classes that were like severely disabled. Like it wasn't just like slow kids. There were kids in there that had really bad, that were born with all sorts of stuff, you know, like they had disabilities and stuff. So they just put them all in together. It's just slower. They're slower developmentally. They're slower in physically, just all that. And then, yeah, at some point, all of a sudden, it was offensive to say that word. And now, my kids will get really mad at me for saying it. It's like, I grew up with that being a normal word. It wasn't, I don't know. There's so many things that in some generations, it's one thing. In a different generation, it's totally different. Like even just if you go back and watch shows from the 80s and stuff, so much stuff is like, oh my God, that's so offensive. And, and I can understand, if you're raised in one thing and you think, oh, well, that word's so offensive because you were raised to believe that word was offensive. But I wasn't raised to believe that word was offensive. And I sure don't go around calling people who have got developmental delays retarded. It's like now they've got a whole bunch of different labels of different things. They've got them all categorized in more what their disability is. So retarded was just like this vague word. It's just like, okay, well, they're slower than the other kids. This is, there's the slow kids. They didn't go through. Then they started saying, oh, this kid's got this. This kid, this one's cerebral palsy. This one's Down syndrome. This one's, whatever. They've got all sorts of syndromes and stuff like that. And then it started being genetic malfunctions or whatever. So there's so many different ones. But I don't know. Just to categorize somebody in such a vague word is like, it really, whatever, is none of our business about what somebody has or whatever. There was a girl, I saw this video. She's at the gym. And I don't know, I guess she's chunky. I'm not sure. But and this, I guess, has happened to her a few times. People are so fucking weird. So she's at the gym. She's on the Stairmaster or something. And she said there's like 20 of them. And she's the only one on there. Well, some guy comes walking over. And out of all the ones, he goes the one next to her. And she's got her headphones on. And she's already irritated. Now he's like, out of all these, he's going to come and stand right next to me. As soon as he gets on, he starts going. He starts talking to her. So she's irritated. She takes her earbud out. And she's like, what? And he starts asking her, like, what are your goals? What are you trying to do here? And maybe you should go on the treadmill. And she's like, what? What are you talking about? What are my goals? And he goes, well, you're trying to lose weight. What are you trying to do? And all this, starts questioning her. And she's like so pissed, like, how is it any of your business? How dare you come over and start asking me, like, who the hell are you? And then he starts telling her, well, you don't want to lose that big booty. What? He's telling her, if you do this, you're going to lose your booty or something. And it's like, how in the world? I don't even know. Like, I've heard so many women saying about guys coming over and saying weird stuff to them. Sometimes it's old men, sometimes it's young men, but they just come and it's like, it's so inappropriate. It's like no boundaries whatsoever. That's why each of us have to set our own boundaries, because there's these people out there who have none. And if somebody comes and starts saying things that are inappropriate, I don't think there's anything wrong with calling them out on it. Saying, that is completely inappropriate, that for you to think that you can come over here and talk to me about anything personal. You don't know me and I don't know you. This conversation is done. And just turn away. Like, I think so many people is like, oh, I don't want to be rude. They're already being rude. They're crossing into your space. They have no business at all asking you anything. And our society has just gone so wacky, man. And there's just something else about the education thing. But my head is like spinning. Okay, so the generation thing, and it was sending us into idiocracy if we continue going in that direction. The ego-driven part, like to think that you're the only generation that's been studied or tested on. It's like we all have this whole place. This is what everything is about. It's just this whole science experiment, and it's on, I don't know, it's on a large level. And because when I was a kid, I was being told we were in a big science experiment, and I didn't even realize how big of a level it is. But the generations, the next generation is all hooked on the computer. The next one doesn't even see the point of learning. And then no telling with the next one. There's more situations going on with this Roblox thing. Which it seems it's just an open door to letting, they're just always letting the pervs in. It's like there's so many pervs out there and they don't even get in trouble. It's like this world is there to support the pervs. And it's, so if you get caught being a perv, I don't know. I think there's a kid who I think he was 17 when he committed his crimes. This is some big thing going on right now. And so he had his way with two girls from high school. So he took one, it wasn't at the same time, took one. And at the same time he's doing that, he's also doing this around their throat. And then right before they are gone, he stops. And then he does it again and then he even films it or something. Like, it's real brutal and vicious. One of them has got some kind of disabilities or something now from it. And when she was at the hospital, they told her that if he would have done it for like 12 more seconds or something, 30 more seconds, she would have died. She was that close. And so anyways, he got a bunch of charges and got put into prison. And he got 90 years. Well, now they've passed a new law. And so they think, oh, well, that's a little harsh. Let's just give him like a year and then like community service or something. And let's also expunge his record. So they're letting him out and they are expunging his record. And whatever it is, I don't remember if he's going to have any kind of check-in or anything, if he has to be on any kind of login or record. But they just let these people go. There's another one, Amy just sent me this video of DOCTOR, and he of course was ordering CHGMO on people when they didn't have anything to need that. And so this lady, she was the one being interviewed, and she said that it almost KILLED'd her because that's what CHGMO does. And you don't forget who gets the kickbacks. They get like 5-6K each order. And so he, he's not the first doctor with these charges. So he does all that, and then he did more things. He did a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of criminal stuff, and he had like 90 charges. So it was something like he had like 90 charges. They just had court the other day, and he got a judge to reduce it to like 19 charges or something. I don't know the exact numbers, but it was a huge reduction in charges. And so, and whatever he's facing, he got all these charges reduced, but the judicial keeps being on the side of the criminals and letting them, and then they let David Coe out, My daughter said she thinks it's because he's sick and the government doesn't want to pay for his treatments. Why, when they get a big old, kick in the back? Why would they? I don't know. But I'm not surprised that the prison system would be like, oh, well, you're sick and dying. Get the hell out of here. We're not messing with you. But he's a pretty bad criminal to be letting out. He was a Spokane one, so he's real brutal. He was doing the same thing as the 17-year-old kid, only he did it to a whole bunch of women. And there's a book and movie about him and stuff. He was really weird. His family was weird dynamics. He's weird and really brutal, and he's been in jail for a while, I think a few decades, but now he's getting out, and they're like, well, we don't think he would be any issue. What has changed? What is going to change for those people? The thing that's going to change is the vibration. Like, people who are lower vibration like that will just be sick and keel over and stuff. They won't go forward into the higher one. But then there's also going to be people who keel over to get to the higher one. So you can't just say, well, everybody who dies, that they are not going to the higher one, because that's not true. But their vibration isn't going to be matching, so it's going to separate. So I hope there's not flies and all these horrible bugs. But not all bugs are horrible, but there's a lot of horrible bugs. Ticks. There's a lot of horrible bugs. Roaches. Like, some of them, it's like, what's the point of these bugs? Just feed the spiders? Well, maybe the spiders need to become vegetarian too. But but I don't know. Maybe we're not going to have spiders in our new world. Maybe we're just going to have fairies and dragonflies or something. I don't know. But we'll see. But oh, I keep going blank. Because there was some other videos too I wanted to talk about of different things. I can't even see them. Maybe I can't see them because I'm supposed to talk about this other thing, but it keeps nagging at me. As it will come to me when I'm supposed to see it. I'll see it. But anyways, the generational divide is all created. There's a lot of things for us to all overcome. And there's there's just still so much negativity. I'm still letting criminals out. I mean, the skies are still getting filled up with lions here. I've heard people say, since the government shut down, there hasn't been any. The thing is it's not the government doing it, it's the corporations. And it's whoever. The government is known to take the kick in the backs for whatever. The whole system is just based on so much giving, I don't know, like briefcase exchanging money kind of thing. It's all just this corrupt system of moving money around. And the corporations, though, make a lot of money off of us, having issues, because then they'll also own the facilities that we go to ask for answers. They also own the places that give you solutions. And so it's all the same source where it is all going. That's why we are the ones that have to break free from it, which there's a whole big thing happening, which to me, we should all, I've been saying that for years, is to stop with these holidays. I mean, they just create this shit just so we just spend money, spend money, spend money. But now it's coming into that time again. And so there's all these people like to have a big closeout, like nobody buy anything and stuff. We'll show them who's boss. And, you know, I wish everybody would stop with the consumer and, you know, quit. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. We'll see what eventually is the thing that crashes it. I saw a girl talking about, too, that her family, so she said her family made money off of the stock market. So ever since she was a kid, she's listened to him talking about the stock market. And she said that her grandpa told her, because he invested into Caterpillar. Caterpillar, even just this week, I was thinking about this when I was driving, because I went past one of those giant machines, and it was on a trailer being pulled by a truck. And I was thinking, man, those are so much money, and there's so much money involved in those big, you know, giant Tonka truck machines that they use. And so Caterpillar is, I keep hearing a rumbling, which in some city, I don't know what, or some place, they were all being woke up with some really big sounds, really loud. They were really creepy. A girl was doing a video and she said everybody's calling 911 saying that there's the sound, but nobody knows what it is. It's very loud. And, which here, yesterday when I was outside, I was working on the fence, putting the clamps on. And, so I was hearing the trucks. They kept going and going and going. So I was like, so there is these trucks going out here. And then the construction was going, but they can't start until like daytime. Like there's a sound, like you're not allowed to work and make a lot of noise in the middle of the night. So it's like at 4 o'clock in the morning, these trucks start. But this morning, it's not so much, but it's Saturday. So and here where I'm at is this, they call it Treasure Valley, I guess. And so it's this huge valley. It's really, really pretty. It's so picturesque when you get in certain points. And there's people who want to live at certain points because of the views and stuff. It's really picturesque here. And you've got these big mountains going around. And you've got these plains, these, you know, these, I don't know. It's not just like open, flat field plains. There's all sorts of like, there's wineries. There's all sorts of farms everywhere. You got all sorts of stuff growing, and it's just really picturesque. It's really pretty. And so but I was thinking maybe it's the way the sound travels. And so I think it is like, the farms start with their noise, with their machinery and stuff. And sometimes when you go outside, all you can smell is livestock too. But so there's all of that sound. But then it also, I was hearing like Jake brakes and stuff. So I was hearing 18-wheelers. But they're all like state highways. They're all one lane going each way. They're not big interstates. So there is legit a lot of noise out there. And it must just travel and carry through the valley, I guess. I don't know, because it sounds so loud. And it sounds like it's right here. But then when I was outside today, it was like far. It was like, I said, where else could it be? It was way over across the river and stuff, way over there. So I don't know, but it sure sounds loud. But this morning is the wind and the rain and stuff, and then plus this rumbling. But something big is definitely coming. And I know that there was parts of Idaho that were cracking, because I had seen videos of somebody showing. So I'm sure that there's things under here. I mean, different parts could suddenly open up, sinkholes or whatever. Which I also saw a girl, she's going in on Utah. And she's saying that there's big black cube underneath, and there's tons of the TUNNELs under there. And it is supposedly the most darkest energy in the United States is in that place. Which I think she said even in because she was even saying that that one isn't as bad. The Royal House, that one isn't as bad. The ones that or have been said are the most darkest energy, that there's other, that this place overrides them. And there's also stuff that is being said about the house that's white and stuff. And I seeing people talking about like, that they are clearing out things. But I think that they had cleared those things underground out a while back. But even Donald was talking about the pool. And he showed up, there was a picture that was shown, which I thought that was that pool, I'm pretty sure is the same picture in that Vanderbilt where she's, I'm pretty sure it's Vanderbilt has that picture. I don't know. I've seen these pictures. But it always has these kids by this pool. And like they will be bound in some way or another. And so I don't know, because I swear to God, it looked like the one that they were saying was at that house that's white. But he was saying that it had to be, it was bad. And we had to close it out. We had to fill it in. Yeah, it was real bad. He said, as a matter of fact, Jackie used to say, you know, I hear women, I hear screaming, I hear things going. And apparently that guy was saying, no, there's nothing, but there's always been something. Because even when the first reign of Donald, he had made a whole thing about Melania had to do a cleansing before she would even come there. She had to have the place cleansed. And then if you were paying attention when there was supposedly were clearing out the TUNLSs underneath, that there was all sorts of ambulances and stuff out there. There was supposedly so many bodies and stuff that were under. So I don't know. I know a lot of bad stuff went on there. I know that there's a lot of places that are all connected in an under system that is, they're all connected. And when you got churches that have, you know, hallways underground that go all the way to Mexico and stuff, it's all for that trade industry. And so it's so much bigger than what. It's just so funny what a limitation it is to think everything was from this one island. It's like it's so much bigger than that. And I think that is one of the reasons why they keep holding that information back, is to get people to see it's way bigger than that. There's way more going on than just that island. And, you know, it's like having a baby crying and sticking a pacifier in its mouth. Just giving them the list is just like, then they can just all be like, oh, okay. They can just check the list to see who's on it. And then they all are, there's only one name they're all looking for. There's one name and that's all they care about. They don't give a shit about everybody else. And then they keep on, every day, they have a new, improved celebrity being brought back out. And the new improved body and new improved faces and stuff. It's so strange. Now Jessica Simpson, she's back out in her new improved clone or whatever. And then they took Skarsgård. I don't know if some of these guys, it was like in their contract, like you have to do whatever they say. Like is this really this guy's style? Like, I mean, I don't think he ever dressed like this before. And now all of a sudden, like, Bradley Cooper's gay. Charlie Sheen has got a boyfriend. It's like, what is going on in this world? And, but Skarsgård shows up to some event or something in some kind of black leather pants with thigh-high or knee-high, some kind of boots, a halter, a white halter with a tie. It is the most, and then a jacket. It's the most absurd looking outfit. It is so, I don't know. I mean, if you're gay, you're gay, you know, whatever. But that all these guys are all suddenly, you know, so flamboyant, where they were all just pretending to not be flamboyant. They were all really flamboyant the whole time, or is it their clones are flamboyant? Like, what? It's weird. Are they just doing it because they want a new part in a movie? It's like, it's so strange. But, yeah. And there's a lot of girls who are super disappointed because he was like a sex symbol to a lot of girls. He was like, you know, oh, I don't remember all the parts he's played. But it seems like maybe he was like out of vampire movie or something. And all these girls were like, oh my God, he's so sexy. But now all of a sudden he's, I don't know, he's dressed like, not masculine or sexy, I'll tell you that. And so I don't know. It's just like everything is just, it's like how much more weird does shit have to get before it just changes, like until it flips over. And oh yeah, because the caterpillar thing. Okay, so the lady with the with the family in the market, and she said that her grandpa told her that when shit goes down, he said this a long time ago. He said, when shit goes down, you're going to see that all of the other things are going to drop, but that one is going to go up. He said, then when that happens, you're going to know something's going on. And so she was doing a video saying that, what her grandpa had told her, and that she checks, and she said, and I don't know which day it was, I saw it yesterday, and she said yesterday, so within the last few days, that happened. So one went way down. I mean, all of them went way down except for this one went way up. And she said the reason he said it was going to do that was because that is what does all of the tanks and all that stuff. So she was saying, because it seemed like she was kind of more concerned about, like, you know, the WW3. And then there's something about the people who would be out there, you know, for doing WW3, that they're being held. For one thing, they're doing weird stuff with their money, and because the government, you know, is not paying anybody, but but it's all such a show too, because there's some checks are going in, but then they're supposed to be dropping food stamps, and now the people off food stamps have been saying, like, they're going to break into Walmart and just steal all the food. And so then you have people who aren't on food stamps saying that it's a good idea because Walmart's saying that they're closing down. They're not going to open. You have to order online and you can pick up your order. It's going to be this whole thing. Which the people who aren't on food stamps are saying, well, that's a good idea because it's bullshit on the stealing. But then if you were a person who was born into that experience of poverty and stuff, then you would see the point of stealing. You would see how it had become, like I've said for so long, they create criminals through poverty. They do it on purpose. So it's not the people just want to go steal food. They just need to eat, and they don't know what else to do except for to go take it when they are saying that you can't have it. And, I mean, that's just gone on for a long time. And that way before this time and here, it's been going on. Like, that's the movie Scrooge. So, they've been doing this for a long time. And that make the poor people criminals and keep them poor, keep them controlled. But but see, it's the people who aren't on it, that they don't have any empathy or compassion and think that's a good idea. It's like, oh, I think you just let them all go in there and take the step, close down the corporations for good. Like, and start getting people to realize, like, we need to grow our own food. We need to become more independent in how we get food and how we feed ourselves. Depending on the corporation, they just control, and then and they're in cahoots. They're all in cahoots. They're all taking these backs, you know, with the kick. So supposedly they're going to stop with giving them any money, and supposedly on the people who would be the front runners on the WWP, they're not giving them any money, and now they've told them they can't move, they can't do anything. So I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Because if they do that as being the big problem, and then also we've got the Atlas is supposed to be, I don't know, now they're saying in front of the sun at the end of the month. I swear to God, I just hear things all over the place. I thought it was supposed to be here, and now it's going to be in front of the sun in next week or in a couple days. And which they tell us still the sun is way far away. If they do that, then maybe that is the disclosure of like, hey, why isn't the sun burning it up? Because the sun's not really hot. It's not what they tell us. The sun's not a fireball. And so the everything would be about disclosure. So, but everything moves so slow. So if who knows with the Atlas thing, the WW3 thing, I still say it would be like that whole Hawaii thing. It'd be that whole thing of like, oh, they've sent something's on its way here and it's going to blast us. We're all going to be gone in a minute. So how's that feel? And everybody's going to come to their knees over how does that feel. We're going to have to really be faced with, you know, who am I, what am I, and where am I going? What's next? And so that would be very significant. And it would not, it wouldn't have the same effects on all the places, because I do think that some places, if they do that some places would be whammed with an EMP or something. Like there would be some kind of a blast that would happen. And so, but I still see the most significant things as being the natural disasters, which I feel like we've got those all on the horizon. We've got rumbles going all over the place. We got everything on edge. Everything is about to fall. It's like in a Jenga game, you know, and you've got so many parts out, and everybody, like the next part's coming out, and we're all sitting on the edge of our seat. Oh, is this it? Is this it? And so it seems like we're right there. Like every little thing is like, is this going to be it? Is this going to be it? So we got things going with the money. We got the government shut. We got WW3 looming. We got things up in the sky coming our way. We've got the earth rumbling around and making noises. And oh, you know this too. This just creeps me out. So there's some big fucking skyrise building, which is so crazy too, because like in China and some other places, they have these tons and tons of these high-rise apartments. So all these people go live up in these high-rise apartments. I don't know how many floors in all of these different ones. There's one in Manhattan, I think is like 94 floors. And so it's super tall. It stands way above the other buildings, which, you know, I guess probably if you're way up at the top, you're going to get some pretty crazy views. But I would think probably a little lower so you could see more. But I don't know. Maybe you can just see like over to Michigan or something from the top. I don't know. But so they've got this tall ass building, which I could no way. I can't even stand to see videos where things about the heights. I've got a horrible thing with heights, and it makes me just feel really like dizzy and nauseous. Like it does something to me. And that's one of the things. I don't know. You can call it a fear or whatever, but I don't like heights. They freak me out. And I could no way go up and live in some tall building like that and look out. Oh my God. It would make me feel like I was going to vomit. It would make me feel like I was going to fall. And so I couldn't do it. I don't know, you know, who all can handle it. And she's running in her dream, hitting into my thing. So funny, my dogs run in their dreams. So anyways, so this tall ass building, and it's falling apart. So they've got this concrete, I guess, apparently, that they knew was not going to last, and they used it anyways. And the people who paid for these apartments paid I don't know, in the millions for them. And I can't even remember. It was a lot of money. But now they're saying it's going to be $160 million to fix this building, and they all got to pay. And what's also creepy about it is that the people who live in it say that it sways and it makes all these noises like it's talking or something, like it's grumbling and groaning and moaning and swaying and stuff. It's like, oh my God, how can, oh my God. And then just to be so high, I was like, oh, if it just all of a sudden broke in half and fell, I don't know. I swear to God, anything can happen at this point, and probably will. The most craziest things are going to keep happening, and there's already so many crazy things happening, and there's so many crazy crimes and criminal things, and so many people getting busted, and so everything is being exposed. So all those criminals and crimes and stuff is all being exposed. Even though everything keeps going slow, super slow towards this big change, but it seems still like everything is just like looming over us. Anything could happen at any moment, and that would change everything. But we could also still have more big impact places and things and stuff that continue to occur, and then and that not be the thing that changes everything. Because when this thing happens, whatever this big thing that happens, it's going to change things. It's going to really change things. And so, and we have a lot of change coming. What was this one too? Because this was a girl, and she was one of these ones that says she gets premonitions, and she had, and her premonitions are always right. And she had one that was, I think she was saying a natural disaster, and that it was about to happen. There's so many people saying that. So many people saying that they feel like, or they've seen it, or they dreamt it, this big, huge disaster that's going to happen. And that, to me, is what will really change things. Because even if something happens in Minnesota, something horrible, horrific, like the train coming off in Ohio, and all those people, like, they're all suffering still from the aftermath of that, but it doesn't affect anybody else. Like, nobody else really, they don't care. They don't pay any attention. It's like, oh, well, who cares what's happening over there? It's not happening here. And people just disconnect. And so the thing that is going to happen has to really affect a lot of people. And maybe it's going to be a little bit of everything. Maybe some places are going to have this WW3 scare, and that is going to shake things up. And someplace else is going to have earthquake, and then they can always blame it on, something flying from the sky that hit into the water that caused the ripple. And so it could be a whole bunch of things are affected by different things at different times, but all kind of like at the same time. So within hours of each other. So, but that's when we'll know that it's when something happens that really changes and brings us all together. So it will change everything. It will change our world. It will change our attitude. That's the big thing. It will change people's attitude, because people are so phony and superficial. And another thing I've been seeing is all these women talking about, I've seen a guy, he would never date a woman who has kids. He would never date a woman with tattoos. He would never date a woman with this and that. Like, he was really narrowing it down who he would even date. It's like, Mom, I don't even know how many people would want to date you, for real. It's like, but you have somebody who's in your alignment. It's like, you don't have to go out and date a whole bunch of different people to find them. They'll come to you at some point in time. But there was a lot of judgment and divisiveness. So, what if you're a person the girl of your dreams has tattoos and you don't like people with tattoos, well, then you're overlooking this girl. So that's the thing about life, is it is there to teach you to overcome your biases, to not be held back. That's how I've always seen this whole thing about the gay thing. It is like some people need to come and learn what love really is, but except that they turned it into all sex and fetish and stuff like that. But the intention of gay wasn't just to, march around on the streets in a G-string and get blowjobs out in front of people. It was really the purpose behind it is to learn to understand love in every aspect and all different depths. And there's a lot of people who, won't look at somebody because they're not looking at them through love. They're looking at them through biases and programming and stuff. So they aren't really, I don't know. Like I saw this other video. There's this whole trend lately. It's a lot of weird stuff. But this one is all these married men on Grindr. And so on Grindr, I guess, is like a hookup for gay people. Well, I think just men, gay men. And so but they aren't gay. They're married and pretending like they aren't attracted to men, but then they're sneaking around and making accounts. And I had said something about this the other day about, somebody, like in one life, they had a kid who was gay and they were judgmental and hateful. So then they had to come back and be born gay so that they would understand what it is to be in love with somebody of the same gender or whatever. It's all these different learning things. But this is, this one, but it also is, you got to learn to love yourself. So if you're real judgmental towards like gayness, and then you are attracted to men, which you also are going to figure out like if it's fetishy or if it's real love. Like a lot of these people, they want to go have sex with them, but it's not like they want to get married and love them and spend the rest of their life with them. That's love, wanting to be with somebody, but just wanting to just go bang it out with everybody and get blown by everybody, that's not love. And so these apps or whatever, they aren't promoting love. They aren't promoting, find your partner in life. And which all that happens naturally anyways. But so this video is a woman. There's so many videos where I'm like, are people just making these plays? They're just doing plays for attention. This could be. But so her husband, she said she found his, because it seems that nobody trusts anybody. So they're all looking for their partners on these apps. So, and a lot of the women are finding them on Grindr. And so this woman found her husband on his account on Grindr. So she confronted him. And then she's videotaping his reaction. And he is like, I've seen it in these movies before where it's like a priest or something. And because, and it's old. I don't know, they could still do it, but it's like an older kind of thing. And they have this like strap where they're beating themselves and ridiculing themselves for having desires or something. And that's what it kind of reminded me of, what he was doing. But he was kind of freaking out like that and just hating on himself. And he kept saying, I'm not gay, I'm not gay. And she's showing this Grindr profile of him on there. And so, but see how people hate themselves. So they try and pretend like they are something different. But there's one thing too, is sometimes your attraction is due to different experiences you've had. And so it could be just a, for instance, you know, he was a young boy and he was at his friend's house and they were 12 years old and they were really, you know, like, ooh, wonder what sex is. And so they decided to do stuff together and try it out. Because this has happened a lot of times. And so they decided to try stuff out. And then, I don't know, one of them could be like, well, he really liked it, so he keeps liking boys. And the other one was like, no, that's gay. I like girls. And then they stop being friends. And then, but he always looks back at that time as being, you know, a kind of like naughty and sneaky, but exciting and thrilling. And, you know, maybe he had the best ejaculation he ever had in his whole life was with this fella or something. So then he keeps thinking, well, maybe I really am gay. Maybe I really want to go out and experience that again. And so then he goes on to one of those websites trying to find that experience again. And, but so he could be thinking, well, I'm not gay, but he's not, I don't know. It's like everybody's just trying to figure themselves out, trying to understand themselves. But so he may see himself as being straight, but he has this lingering lust for this experience to relive it. Like I've said, there's certain, you can't relive an experience. You can't, it's like you had that experience and that's it. That's why we got to learn to be a lot more grateful for our experiences and a lot more in touch with them. But it can lead to a lot of dysfunction. And so then some can be chasing that high. But then there's another thing too. In the gay community, it's so over-sexualized. Like, they just, you know, have sex, you know, threesome, foursome, orgy. They just do whatever. And then just don't really care about it. Because they all have kind of like this same internal physiological way of looking at it or something, so they don't really get too attached, so they can just go bouncing around just doing it with everybody. But I don't know, I think that people are looking more for attachment and more for connection, but people are all just trying to find the thrill and trying to relive moments of time, and instead of just accepting them. And that you, you know, to be every experience that you've had and everything that you feel shame about, you need to work through it. But then also, if it is also leading you to constantly be this thrill seeking, always looking to try and relive this thrill that you found during this experience, you also need to get a handle on that. Everything needs to be like pulled in a little bit. Everything is like out, and it needs to be pulled in to find your balance. You can't just be out looking. And then, you know, a lot of these guys don't show much into their way of commitment either, because their partner that they have, which, you know, they're not even being honest with or truthful with, and they obviously don't feel that permanent connection with them because they're out looking for something else out there. And I probably some do like live, you know, one life, and then they have an alternative lifestyle that they keep, you know, on the down low that nobody knows about, but they continue to live this lifestyle. Like, I've heard that for a long time, like men who were gay or having relationships with men and their wives didn't know, and they were doing it for decades because a lot of their wives never even would suspect it, and because they were living like two different lifestyles. But if you were living these two different lifestyles, you're not being true to yourself. You're not being real, or you're not being authentic. You're not being loyal. You're not, what things do you have to look at yourself and feel like, well, I'm a good person? And if you can't be looking at yourself feeling like you're a good person, then how can you feel satisfied with yourself? You would be like hating yourself, bashing yourself, like, I hate myself. I hate myself. I'm not this. I'm not this. It's like, you got to figure out who and what you are. And and the thing is that they've confused gayness so much with sex, instead of letting it be about love. And that's when it very first started, that there was people who were finding themselves attracted to the same sex, and they weren't being accepted for it. And which, to me, if you're just attracted to one gender, then that is a limitation. If you're not open to love and discovering love and being open to, what your experience is there for. And so, when I've heard people, oh, I'm just gay, I only like men, I'm gay, I only like women, then I'm always like, yeah, but what if you met somebody who was, a man or a woman or whatever, and you were really attracted to them, and you really liked them as a person? So you wouldn't even give them an opportunity to be, like, I don't know. That just doesn't make any sense to me, because to me, it's about love. It's not about, gender or whatever. But is also not supposed to be just about sex. It's supposed to be about, who you really find attractive, who, not just a whole generic attraction, but a specific person. And then whatever obstacles or programming or indoctrination that you've got to break through in order to accept yourself and accept this relationship and this love. But see, everything is all about this, trying to figure out how to accept yourself, how to learn to love yourself, and to be more open, and to not be so, it's like we're in a world of limitations, but who's setting our limitations? And it's weird, because then the people who are, attracted to kids or animals or whatever, they try and use these same things. But there's a certain, it's like written in our code of certain things that, yeah, that's very different. Very different to, a child or an animal or something. They're not, what is that word? Like, they're not on the same level. Like, you got to be on the same level as the person. And so that's a different ball game. And so when you're saying, well, we shouldn't be living in limitations when it comes to age or whatever, then that's different, because that is, it's non-consensual. It's, you are over that person. And that is where your soul, when it's written in your code, knows that. So it's not a question. Like, you don't cross certain boundaries, because that is non-consensual. That is manipulation. That is one soul taking over another soul because they can. That's like an enslavement process. And that goes against the coding of the soul. And so, and some people are here to learn those codes. And so, but that is why, to me, it's like, you got to still, like, say, because there's people who don't understand that. But yeah, that is, when it is not of an age of consent, or a child, or, a big gap, then that is not the same thing. So those limitations are different type of limitations because it's in your coding of right and wrong. And so, but like I said, everything in life is about experience and about learning. And so there's always people who are learning or developing their coding. And so that there's people who do things that you could already have the code for, that you know that you wouldn't do, but we still have to like see that it still goes on. And it's not like that we have to accept it. It's not like we have to just, but there's also this sense of where we do have to accept everybody in order to not be judgmental, in order to go on. Because like I said, the higher vibration of the universe, it does not look at it that same way. It doesn't look at it, the experiences, as good or bad. It looks at it as just experience. And so it's like it's like a learning. It's like everything is an expansion. And so it doesn't look at it as like criminals and stuff like we do. When we're here, we look at this is right, this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong. And even like, you know, I heard this whole long story about this incest situation. And, you know, we all have all these judgments towards all of these different things because it's like in our code. But when you are carrying a lot of code, then you have a part of you that also needs to evolve out of judgment and be able to see that just because you've learned something doesn't mean every soul's learned something. Every soul has the right to go in and learn through the experiences, and every soul that is in the experience is signed up for that experience. So it's really a lot more of a none ya business kind of situation. And that's where we got to focus more on ourselves and not just be looking in everybody's windows all the time. But in the bigger scheme of things, we are here to learn about the things that hold us back and stuff. And so in love, there are people who are held back by, you know, gay is bad. And then you catch them doing something and then they think like they're bad and stuff. But that is where you got to learn how to accept yourself and, you know, and then try and understand yourself on a deeper level. You know, are you really gay? Are you really just trying to relive an experience that you had a long time ago and you found it exciting and you want to try and relive it? Or are you really, you know, just, I, I don't know. They've got it. It's so tangled. It's so tangled when gayness and fetish and stuff. So each person has to figure their own stuff out. And it's like, you know, you just have to look at yourself deeper and figure out who it is you want to be. But all those different things to me are about limitations and stuff. Because even if you decide like, well, I'm gay, I've decided I'm gay because I'm attracted to men. I really like the knobs. I really want that, you know, all the things you do with them. That's what I think about all the time. Then, and if you're just thinking about sex all the time, that right there seems pretty fetishy. I think you got to go to another level. You know, it's not just about sneaking around in the hotels and, you know, what dirty sex you can have. It is more of like, well, who do you want to walk around in the park holding hands with? You know, who do you want to, you know, sit and have juice and look out at the scenery and talk deep about things with, you know? It's, and I think, you know, most of us, the generalized population, is more centered on the developmental state of, you know, the boy girl thing. Like we are meant to be paired up. Like, but I think, you know, even in the animal world, I think you can find like some gay animals that are paired up with the same sex. But I know that there was one case study or something because there was penguins. There was two penguins, two male penguins that had paired up. And because penguins, I guess, also are monogamous, and they stay committed to each other until one dies. That's a lot, and a lot of different kind of birds and stuff. I don't know that all animals do it, but it seems like there's a lot of birds that do stay monogamous with and pair up for their life. And if one of their partners gets killed, then it leaves the other one, you know, devastated. Like, there's a lot of sad geese stories and stuff. Oh, yesterday I did have a big old cry. I don't know. I still feel so, and I was drinking some of that tea. That's supposed to, you know, clean out some areas, but my cry was this wolf one. Oh my God. This guy, this is being filmed. So somebody's obviously following him with the camera, which always is suspicious to me. Like, how is there always someone following you around with the camera? Unless this isn't. So he is carrying this big wolf, and he's running into this vet saying there's an emergency. And in the words, it says that she couldn't walk and she's getting worse. So he is going in there, and then the vet comes out and says she's paralyzed, and that they're going to have to put her down. And he's all devastated, and she has pups, but they're not really little, but I don't know their age, because, like, she's huge and she's 6 months, so I don't know how old these pups are. And they're all at the window. So he looks over, and all her pups are at the window looking in as to what's going on. So, oh, it's going to make me cry still. And then, so they, man, I don't know what animal things really get me. And then, so she has to put the dog down, and he's just devastated. He said it's been his partner and stuff for a long time. And so he obviously is raising wolves or something. And I saw a couple more videos where I was like, is this guy's story? So I don't know. But on this one, so he has to have the mom be put down, and he carries her body. And, gosh, he's talking to her. So he's talking to her, and he's gonna take her and bury her and stuff. And I can't believe how upset I get about this stuff. And then as he's driving, the wolves are running next to his car. God, I'm such a wuss about this. And then she, so he gets there, and all the pups, you know, they're running next to the car. So they all get there together, and he starts digging a hole and lays her down. And the pups are coming up smelling her, which I was so glad that when Winston, because when they put Winston to sleep, it was at the house. And you had to pay to have it. But so they came out to the house and put him to sleep. And so I said it was important to me to have Stella come out and get to see him beforehand. And they agreed. So Stella got to come out and smell him and see. And that also happened when Lucy died. Lucy was laying there for a long time, and all the other animals got to go over and see. So it's like, because there's a lot of people who they don't. They go and they take their animal to the vet, then they have it put down, then they have it just sent away to be cremated. It's important for the other animals to see. They just will sit at the windows and mourn and cry and stuff. I've even seen dogs sitting, you know, like when their person has died, and they'll sit there and just look at the picture and just cry and cry and cry. And so, anyways, so he puts the body down, and the pups are all coming up and sniffing her and stuff. And he's digging the hole, and he's talking and stuff. And so he digs the hole and puts her in, and has a little ceremony thing. Buries her. And all of the pups sit around the grave and start howling. Like they're just howling in so much pain and mourning. It's like, God, I was crying even harder than this. I was just bawling my head off. And I go and look in the comments and everybody's like, oh my God, I'm just bawling my head off. It was so emotional, this whole video. It was so good. So whoever's following them around, I don't know if they're making it, whatever, however it was all on film. But anyways, the foresight to see, like, hey, let's film this. But anyways, it was really emotional. You know, in this other video where I was like, I don't know if this is this guy's story, but it was, I don't know if they found a wolf pup, and so they brought it into the house, and then the mom shows up with the other pups, and so he, I think I saw a couple of different stories, because there was one, this was, so one of them was that he went out to his barn, and there was a mom out there, and she had a whole bunch of puppies, and it was a mama wolf, and she was in his barn, and she had like 6 puppies or something, and he brought her out some milk, and so then when he started to leave the barn, see, there's always a camera. It's like a fucking film of a movie. So he goes out, and the male wolf is blocking the door. So he has to get past the male wolf, and the male wolf's growling and stuff. And so, then eventually the pups, she stays there, and he keeps feeding them. He starts feeding them all. And then the pups start playing, and they start being like a whole thing, and they stay there, and they start, you know, being all living together. So I didn't know if that was this guy's story who took this mom to the thing, but then there was this other one, and he had found this wolf pup apparently, and then the mom shows up, and she's outside with the other pups at the window, and so he opens the door and lets the pup go out, and it goes out and goes off, and the mom takes him, and he, you know, was nothing. And then later, she shows back up and brings the pups, and so the pups come up and start playing, even lets his dog out, and the dogs are out, his dog is out there playing with these wolves, and they're all having a good time, and he's filming it. He said the mom never came up. She stayed over on the edge of the woods just watching the whole time. So that one, I was like, that wasn't the, because this guy, he had a relationship with this wolf that had to be put down, which I don't know what happened to her, if she got hurt somehow. And it could have got hit by a car, I guess. But but that one seemed more like, oh, that could be that guy's story. So I don't know how he ended up with this wolf and these pups. And, but anyways, I was bawling my head off through all those different stories, because then I just kept having all these wolf stories pop up. But, oh my God, I really got a cry in on that. So if that was, because that one lady was saying that you have to cry every 2 weeks or something to cleanse your body of all the toxins and stuff. So, but I still have a buildup because I'm still so sore. So I don't know what the hell's going on with mine. And I'm not going to talk about it because I'm spreading misinformation. Talk about your own health. Talking, you know, like spreading misinformation to talk about yourself. So it's so absurd. So anyways, I don't know how, oh, look at how long I've been talking. I do know I've been talking a long time, but I don't know when things are going to change or how they're going to change, but it seems like it's still, you know, I mean, when you pay attention on one level, you can see that there's constantly things that were being shown, and, you know, that's because it's all about the awakening. It's all about to pull us into a certain state of consciousness to get us to work on our self, to pull out of this world that has got us trapped and pull into ourselves so that we can work on our vibration and our evolvement, our evolving. Yeah, evolvement, whatever. You know what I'm saying? We're here to work on us, but we had to pull ourselves out of the slumber our psyches are being mind controlled in. And so, but that's what the awakening is all about. And then the aftermath, you know, is all to really change us and give us opportunities of growth. And then we're all going to separate and go into our vibrations. But that's when there's going to be a higher vibration. There's going to be for the people who did the work to get themselves there. And that's going to be a lot more about acceptance, non-judge. Because heaven on earth, like up in the heavens, they don't judge. They aren't hateful. They aren't, it's different. And that's the energy that you got to meet. And in order to meet it, you meet your higher self. You match that energy. And so that is, but that's just one world that's being created out of all of this chaos that's happening. So it's not the only one. It's not like, well, if you don't go there, you go nowhere. That's, no. Everybody's going to go where they're supposed to go. But that's what the awakening is all about, is to get us more in alignment to where we're going, to start preparing for where it is that we're going and do the work and stuff to get there. Because it's all about our lessons, and we're all on different lesson plans. Just like I said, some people are here to learn, to get their codes. You know, and some of us have it in our code already. Other people don't. They don't carry, we don't all carry the same coding. And so, anyways, but it does have to do so much with learning how to accept everybody. But you also got to learn how to accept yourself. And you got to learn to go deeper into yourself and try and understand yourself and more in the depths of who you are. So, but once you do, you got to accept yourself. And that's the important thing. And so let's look at this, because you know what I'm going to say next. And so that just stays the same. It just stays the same. Maybe we just start looking at it once a month or something. Maybe we'll see some progress. And then this still. Oh, there's something on my screen, because I keep feeling like, what is that? So I don't know. Sometimes I'm trying to move something, but it's on the screen. But anyways, but this severe inflammation is still all over my body, and this injury, whatever I did to myself. And right now, I do have one of those things on that I thought I talked about yesterday, but I'm not going to talk about it. So, anyways, but it is the most important thing, is to figure yourself out. And there's a lot of people who need to learn to accept themselves. And, you know, it goes beyond just accepting yourself, because you got to learn how to love yourself. No matter where you or who you failed, if you failed yourself, if you failed everybody you know, you still got to learn how to love yourself. And you got to learn how to let things go and to learn and grow from it. Don't be held back. Just grow and expand, go further, go forward. So learn how to love yourself, and learn how to love everybody, and learn how to have the day you want to have. I think that's our major things, but I know those are the things that are going to have to do with where it is I'm going, where I think a lot of you guys are going. So, but that's not the only place to go. So there's going to be a lot of places to go, and there's going to be a lot of doors that are going to be opening soon. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to be causing doors to open. So we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. But we're still waiting. So something is still coming. And until it comes, it's still coming. So anyways, we'll see what this weekend brings us. And we'll talk about it tomorrow. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.